Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Let us begin our metta recital. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought, let us begin our practice. Metta first, then mindfulness practice. Let us pay attention to our breath and notice the breath touching our nostrils, entering the lungs, expanding lungs, expanding lower abdomen. And when we breathe out, abdomen contracts, lung area contracts, the breath leaves the nostrils. And these are the three functions that take place all the time, whether we are aware or not. The difference is that we do this when they happen, we bring our awareness to it, our mindfulness, to see them rising and falling. Rising and falling never stops until we die. Even after that, the body has certain bacteria, certain cells, trillions of cells, they rise and fall until the bodily juice and environmental factors exist. The bodily rising and falling takes place. It never stops until the body completely turns into dust and blown by the wind. Until such time, this rising and falling arise. We simply become aware of it. Our feeling rises and falls, perception rises and falls, thought rises and falls, consciousness rises and falls. They all rise and fall, rise and fall. That is the function of this existence. Always this happens. When we see this, the body relaxes, the breath relaxes, mind relaxes, and then mind realizes that it is a futile attempt that we make to hold on to anything, meaning nothing can be held on to. Things are moving so quickly, so consistently, nothing can stop this change, rising and falling. And then we become even more loosen up, relax. Metta feeling arises in such a state of mind. And then hatred or resentment, resistance fades away. Then compassion arises and restlessness and worry fades away, and the mind becomes more and more lucid and clear. Then our mind becomes more energetic, sleepiness and drowsiness fades away. And then we get more subtle and restlessness and worry fades away. Then we see all this, we gain confidence on the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and our practice come dependent origination and so forth. We experience dependent origination in our life. That is, when something is, something else is. When something arises, something arises. When something not there, another thing is not there. Something passing away or ceasing, the other is ceasing. This also our life's experience. When we gain this confidence, it becomes very strong. The mind is full of joy by seeing the truth. And then happiness arises. When happiness arises, body and mind are more calm, relaxed, tranquil, which is passaddhi. It is one of the factors of enlightenment as well. When passaddhi arises, tranquility arises, mind naturally gains concentration. With the concentrated state of mind, mind can notice deepest and subtlest rising and falling of cellular level. With this awareness, we understand the greed has no place, hatred has no place, confusion has no place in our mind. Permanency has no place, self has no place, delusion has no place. Then mind becomes more pure and clean, very much like the breath that we breathe in and out. With this, let us continue our practice. Dukkha patta ca nidukkha, bhaya patta ca nibhaya, soka patta ca nisoka, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought in mind, let us try to focus our mind again to the answers to this question that Brian will read for me.
Okay. First question relates to the story you told about Venerable Ananda's enlightenment.
Yes.
I am very curious about this story about Venerable Ananda's enlightenment. I heard one teacher say that Venerable Ananda was practicing very hard, putting in a lot of effort, and tired himself out because he wanted so much to achieve the goal. But when he decided to let go, he gained enlightenment. The teacher was trying to tell us that there has to be a balance in our effort. But from what Bhante has said, it would appear that Venerable Ananda, though tired, did not let go of achieving the goal, but was putting in continuous effort every moment. Can Bhante kindly comment?
Very good question. I'm glad that somebody listened to the story very attentively. It just see when you feel sleepy and sleep. Sleepiness brings you tremendous pleasure. I mean, if somebody disturbs you when you are just going to fall asleep, you get very upset because you struggle very hard to sleep. And here, then that is the joy, happiness you gain from having sleep. Now, by seeing the truth, you gain great joy and happiness. Which one you like? Buddha said, Matta sukha parichaga passe che vipulan sukhang chaje matta sukhang dhiro sampassang vipulan sukhang. One should let go of little pleasure for the sake of greater pleasure. Now, which is the greater pleasure? Sleeping or seeing the truth as it is? Sleep you can have any time, but the seeing the truth you cannot have any time. It needs a lot of effort, a lot of mindfulness, a lot of perseverance, a lot of commitment. So that is what Venerable Ananda did. Not that he was tired. Of course he was tired. And he knew if he succumbed to tiredness and give in to tiredness and rest, this golden opportunity that he was going to participate in the council of 500 Arahants, he was the 500th one. And attaining Arahanthood is much, much, much greater than a sleep. Therefore, he let go of sleep and he was very firmly committed. No. Even in this very difficult moment, I want to remain mindful, which is not very easy to get. As- Although Venerable Ananda had attained the stream entry, he did not have the bliss of emancipation, bliss of arahanthood. Now, this is the golden opportunity for him. Therefore, he sacrificed all other comfort, joy, happiness for the greatest happiness. That is how I look at it. You see, when you meditate, when you meditate, you feel sleepy. You feel sleepy. It is very easy for people to fall asleep. It's not a big deal. But how much sharpness, awareness, mindfulness do you need to see the truth? So you have to sacrifice that temporary pleasure for the for the highest pleasure. That's what Venerable Ananda did, and that's how I look at it.
Thank you, Bhante. This person also asked, I also wonder when one practices like this, continuously, clearly comprehending every single moment, every presently arisen state, what happens when one falls asleep? I've always wanted to know how the Buddha fell asleep because he slept so little, or did he sleep at all?
Yeah, Buddha took rest for almost 2 hours a day, and that rest also he did mindfully. His mindfulness is so keen and sharp. He refreshed his body with the mindfulness, and therefore he, according to the life of the Buddha stories that we read, he had very tight schedule made by himself out of compassion for all living beings. His schedule was to lie down between 2 and 4 in the morning, from 2 between 2 and 4, 2 hours. And then he would get up at 4 o'clock from his lying down and resting, and then he did he surveyed the world to see if there is anybody who needs his help. And then he would come out and he did his meditation, walking meditation. And then, as soon as he came out of his kuti, sometimes monks were ready to ask him questions, lay people were ready to ask questions, and he spent a couple of more hours answering the questions, and then he took his alms ball and went to a particular, if he had invitation, went to a certain place and then had this lunch. Then again he uh, rested for a few minutes, and then the bhikkhus assembled in the assembly hall, and sometimes lay people come. This time he spent the time with monastic monks and nuns, and then give advice. And then in the evening people come again, and so forth. He worked very hard to teach them Dhamma. at night, maybe at about 10 o'clock, various people will be there assembled. And then Buddha would spend 2 hours answering questions of various type of deities and so forth. Every minute, every hour, he was very busy, and then that's how he spent his time. And being busy does not mean, because he did everything with the clearest state of mind, and therefore he knew how much rest he needs, and even that rest he took with mindfulness. And therefore, if somebody is that mindful, that person does not need that uh, 8 hours or sleep, 8 hours sleep like ordinarily people need. They say they want to work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, and enjoy 8 hours. Like that, I mean, generally that's how they do. Uh, and sometimes they need more time for weekends to do more enjoyment. And because they are not that mindful and that mentally, spiritually developed and have cleansed their mind. So the Buddha did not need that kind of help, what you call rest. He needed only very little help, what you call rest, to rest his fatigued body. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante. Dear Bhante, I'm seeking your guidance and advice. How should one practice when one is commuting as a passenger or when one has some free time? And then the person goes on to give 3 options that they're thinking about. Uh, Option 1, mindfulness of breathing, watching my in breath and out breath. Number 2, sending metta, may all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Or number 3, reminding oneself that this experience is impermanent, that the body, mind, perception, and thoughts are all impermanent. Will it be better to sequence it between the 3 meditations? Would it be better to sequence it? If so, should I figure out myself which works, or is there a proven way? And finally, will the above apply to all other activities like preparing food, housework, or should one pay attention to the task at hand when there is physical activity? So I
I think we take one question at a time.
I think what they're asking is when they're doing something very passive
Uh-huh.
that doesn't require sustained attention, like being a passenger in a car,
Yeah.
should they do mindfulness of breathing meditation, metta meditation, or open awareness with awareness of impermanence
Okay. Uh,
during passive activities?
yes. I think you practice metta meditation first, and then try to stay mindful of impermanence. I think mindful of impermanence is far superior to all other practices, because even metta is impermanent. Uh, what you see is your entire life is impermanent. All your 5 aggregates are impermanent. And therefore, the impermanence is the best thing you have to develop. I mean, the awareness of impermanence. Awareness of impermanence I recommend is the best meditation you can practice, whether you are active or passive, driving or sitting as a passenger. Uh, Sitting as a passenger, you have many options. Uh, you know, practicing even metta or focusing mind on the breath, uh, even all eventually come to impermanence practice, because breath is impermanence, metta is impermanence, whatever else is impermanence. So if you can develop your mind, make it sharp and clear to see, to experience, and become aware of impermanence, I would recommend that is the best meditation. And we read in many places in the Buddha's teaching, if you are aware of impermanence or gain the sort of grip of impermanence, then all other defilements you can get rid of without any problem. Uh, Buddha gave very beautiful simile, very often 10 similes. There is a discourse called Anicca Sanya Sutta in Majjhima Samyutta Nikaya. He has given 10 similes. One of them that I very often use is the simile of sunrise. When in the autumn, called fall in the United States, when the leaves are fallen from trees and then there are no clouds in the sky, when sun rises, you can see that rises lights up or make everything crystal clear visible. You can see everything very clearly when sun rises under that kind of circumstance, without cloud, without leaves on trees, and the sky is blue. At that time when the sun rises, you can see every object. Similarly, when we practice mindfulness of impermanence, in everything you see impermanence. In everything you see impermanence. You experience impermanence. And then, of course, from there, suffering, selflessness arise. But you cannot have the suffering and the knowledge of suffering and selflessness immediately. But the impermanence, immediately, without any effort. All you need to pay attention. Just like sunlight brights up, shines on everything, you see impermanence in everything. They all rising and falling, never stay. That is the best type of meditation I would recommend you to do when you are in the car as a your example, as a passenger or as a driver. You are active or passive, impermanence is right there. Where you are, there, where you go, there you are.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Um, Dear Bhante, when a person during younger days, what, when a person was younger and they had broken precepts, possibly an act of rebellion, how can the person do good to compensate for the wrong deeds? Will daily repentance to Buddha and sharing of merits be one way? Otherwise, how else can the karma of the wronged, of the misdeed be lessened or decreased?
I think that also very good. Buddha has answers to any question. He said, Yassa papang katang kamang kusaleena pitiyati. So imang lokang pabhaseti abbha mutto chandima. Buddha said, if one has done papa, papa means unwholesome, unskillful, painful thoughts, words, deeds. Of course, when we are young, not very bright, not very wise, full of ignorance, plus full of greed, activities, and confusions. A lot of things are there when all of us are young. And that time we do many, many mistakes, many things. Even eating one's own excrement as a little baby, if somebody if can find it, he might eat that. Anything that they find on the ground, they put in the mouth. I have seen recently little infant picking up a little worm and putting into the mouth. Fortunately, his parents were there. He took it out. And they swallow, coins and anything, nails, whatever, because they are ignorant, immature, no wise. So, Buddha said, as we grow up, many of our wrongdoings we stop, we don't do. When we are young, even if parents, adults, teachers, and so forth try to stop us doing something wrong, we would not listen to them. We are so stubborn, naughty, and we do things. But one day, when we come to understanding, then we realize, well, this is harmful. Harmful to me, harmful to others. I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. So you make commitment to yourself, not to the society, not to the police, not to the parents. They even don't know. They even don't know what you did. But you are the only one. I think we gave a long talk on this subject when I talk on Bhaddekarata Sutta, Mahakacchana Bhaddekarata Sutta, Atitan Nanagame Yanapatikanke Anagatan, and so forth. Pachupannanchiyo Dhamman, Tatta Vipassati, and so on. I mentioned and gave a long talk. Let me repeat only the relevant part right now. And the meaning of what I recited, the stanza that I recited, Yassa papang katang kammang, kusalena pithiyati. Having understood one has done something wrong in the past, knowing that it was wrong and so on, then from that point onward the person is going to do wholesome things. Kusalayana pitayati. So from wholesome deeds, skillful thoughts, words, deeds, he covers. Pitayana means covers the unwholesome things. You cover it. That person, Buddha said, shines like the moon. So imang lokam pabhaseti abba mutto chandima. That person shines like the moon, free from clouds. Free from clouds. Moon is there. When the clouds are there, moon doesn't shine to us. When the clouds are gone, moon shines. So you can shine just like that moon when you decide with understanding and start committing wholesome things. And then keep doing wholesome things. And Buddha said, if you cannot do wholesome things, Buddha said, Punyanche Purusho Kaira, Kaira Tenam Puna Punan Tammi Chandam Kairata. Sukho Punyaseo. When you do wholesome things, do it again and again. If you cannot do it the same wholesome thing, at least you think about it. Every time you think, suppose you are very sick, you have been doing very many wonderful wholesome things. Now you cannot do it, you are bedridden, but your mind is working. At that time you keep thinking of your wholesome deeds that you have done in the past. So that is what we have to do. All of us. We all have done wrong things in the past, and when we come to understanding that it is wrong, we are not going to repent, regret, grieve, cry, and be depressed. That is totally useless things. Buddha is such a psychologist, wonderful psychologist. He said, yes, we have done something. Now you understand that it was wrong, and now you start doing something good, wholesome, skillful, beneficial, and keep doing it over and over and over again. You completely forget all your wrong things, just like it's gone, finished, kaput. Okay?
Thank you, Bente. One person would like to know what sutta that was from.
What?
Uh, Having a strong conviction not to do.
In the Dhammapada.
That's
These
Dhammapada.
two stanzas I recited all from the Dhammapada.
Okay, thank you, Bente.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more question.
Yeah.
Dear Bante, when we do metta to a sick person or any other for their happiness and well-being, does that energy reach them and help them in their recovery? Please let us know your thoughts.
I think that also is a good question. We must, if we know the person and we want to reach out that person, we must verbally express to him, we really love you. We all take care of you. You are not alone. We are behind you. We want to support you. I want to support you. I want you to recover very quickly and so forth. You have to verbally express to that person that you really care for that person. And then, while saying so, even after that, you keep practicing. When you go to see the person, talk to the person with metta, full metta. And that way, when the person is quite aware that his or her friends, relatives, all practice metta for him or her, that person feel very comfortable. Very comfortable. The person doesn't feel that person has been neglected, left alone, but he get lot of trust, faith, confidence that there are beings around him, thinking of him, wishing him goodwill, wishing him metta, and so on. This way, your metta will work very well for the person. Otherwise, metta doesn't have magic. I don't believe so. But the magic is in your mind. You practice metta for your own purification. That is the key. Your own purification. You have to purify your mind from hatred, anger, resentment, uptightness. But you can spill it out to other people when you associate with them, talk to them, make them feel that you are friendly person with metta. Then they will feel comfortable to be with you, to talk to you, not be afraid of you. They don't try to run away from you. Rather, they like to get close to you, try to associate with you, listen to what you say, and so forth. So the spring of metta is in you for you, and then you can share with others in your thoughts, words, and behavior. I think, friends, good question you asked, and every day. And tomorrow I will continue the talk on Mahasatipatthana Sutta, where I pick up from where I stopped. And now I want to end this talk. And thank you for asking questions. And thank you for coming for this session. You give me encouragement and share your metta with me. So let us all together share our metta and wish all those suffering beings to be free from suffering and return to normal life and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. Those patients in hospitals are taken care of by various very compassionate, selfless, marvelous people like doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs, facilitators, and may they continue their very noble service and live long in good health to serve the world with compassion and love. There are many people who support financially, otherwise these wonderful people cannot serve the world. Uh, in this world they need some source to make their living and to make this world work materially. So let them continue their very wonderful, generous practice and live long in good health and attain liberations. Many leaders in the world have done wonderful job to reduce this COVID, what do you call pandemic, sort of epidemic and pandemic, whatever. And they have been successful. There are some other leaders who have not yet been successful. May they have patience, courage, understanding, and compassion to make right decision for the benefit of all beings. With this metta wish, I want to end this morning session. Thank you.